What skills do you need to be successful right now and in the new year? As we move through the final quarter of 2025, it is natural to start looking ahead. Maybe you're feeling stuck in your current role, you've been considering a job change, or you know you need to sharpen your skills to stay competitive, but aren't sure exactly where to start. The truth is, the workplace is moving faster than ever. Between AI, economic shifts, and changes in how organizations are structured, mid career professionals like you cannot afford to sit still. So, in today's episode, I'll walk you through the top skills I believe mid career professionals need to prioritize right now as we head into 2026. Whether you're planning a career pivot, looking for a new role, leveling up your leadership, or aiming for that promotion, the skills I'll talk to you about need to be what you focus on and what you grow to give you an edge in this competitive and ever-changing market. Let's get started. Hello, my friends. This is the Mid-Career GPS podcast, and I'm your host, John Neral. I help mid-career professionals like you find a career they love or love the one they have using my proven four-step formula. This episode is all about what matters most for your career heading into 2026. And so number one, right out of the gate, is you need to be better. And better in air quotes, because this is all about not just being better with AI, but having greater AI fluency and digital agility. I don't want you to panic hearing this because I'm not saying that you need to become a programmer or build your own AI model. But AI is simply no longer a buzzword. It is a workplace reality. And as more and more companies and employers are integrating AI into their work streams, you as a mid-career professional and leader should be watching to see how your company is integrating AI and also how you can adapt to these new tools quickly and use them responsibly. So this means knowing how to use AI to speed up tasks, generate ideas, or analyze data. It's about being able to interpret results critically, knowing when you can trust AI and when you have to question it. And as a side note to that, that should be something you do in the hiring process as well. If you are using AI to help you optimize your resume, your LinkedIn, your cover letter, your networking strategy, your interview techniques, you should be looking at those AI results and interpreting those results critically and with the human sophistication that you have instead of blindly trusting it to be the be all and end all. Recruiters are more savvy than ever, as are HR professionals, of being able to look at a resume or a LinkedIn profile or a cover letter and go, oh yeah, they just had AI write it and never bothered to truly put it into their own voice or even edit the AI. Lastly, when I think about being more comfortable with AI, it is about being able to not only show that comfort, but to show that confidence and competence in using the AI instead of resisting it. And that is what I mean by having digital agility. Digital agility is your ability to pivot and integrate any type of new technology into how you lead, communicate, and get your work done. If you are the one who is resisting the technology, if you are the one who is refusing to learn how to use it, you will be left behind. If you are old enough, and the likelihood is you are, nothing wrong in that, right? But if you are old enough, you can remember how integrating things like PowerPoint, Word, Excel, Microsoft Office, that there were new features that were coming out in those things constantly. And if you weren't proficient in them, you weren't bringing those necessary skills, right? How you were using the internet to search for things. These are things that may have been a little pedestrian at the start of your career, but now are things that you are embracing wholeheartedly because it's just something you do. It's something you are confident in doing. Now, if you want some help in using AI, especially when it comes to your interview preparation, I want you to go back into my catalog. Go to episode 314. The episode is titled Interview Tip: How Personal AI Stories Make You More Memorable in Interviews. I give a very clear and specific example of how I had used AI for a personal reason and shared that if I was asked in an interview how I'm using AI, this would have been the example I would have led with. So it's episode 314: How Personal AI Stories Make You More Memorable in Interviews. The second skill I want to offer you to focus on here is all about your strategic communication and storytelling. Storytelling is more important than ever, especially leading into 2026. Storytelling should be a non-negotiable skill that you are actively working at and developing every single week. Here's why. Attention is scarce, okay? Our attention can so easily be distracted by so many things. Hiring managers, executives, and colleagues need to be able to understand the value you bring to your current or future position as quickly as possible. If you've been following me for a while, you will hear me say things like, it is about keeping them interested in who you are and what you do rather than finding you interesting. That is in the art of how you are telling your story. But telling your story in this way is about crafting stories that use metrics, examples, outcomes, results that paint this picture very vividly about your contribution, your input, and more importantly, your impact. So they know the kind of professional who you are. Additionally, in your storytelling, you need to be able to modify your storytelling to impact different audiences. For example, you will have a storytelling approach that'll be very different when you're speaking with executives or you're, say, presenting at a board meeting, as opposed to when you're talking to your peers compared to when you're talking to your clients. Your storytelling needs to be that bridge that essentially connects the dots between what you've done and the problems you are capable of solving. That is how you will help them. When I start working with my clients one on one, we get very quickly into elements of their storytelling. And it's how we work on essentially what I call this, it's their unique professional value statement. And I work with them on this so they can speak about this with greater confidence when they're asked that tell me about yourself question, or they need to deliver a quick point right away about why someone should be interested in them working for them or helping them with something. The third skill is about building trust and emotional intelligence. As we head into 2026, trust for me, in what I'm seeing right now, trust is the most important leadership trait to possess. Now, I don't want to underscore the importance of having competence and proficiency in the technical aspects of your job. But if your team and your employees do not trust you, you don't have anything. Companies have been going through a lot this year, especially the tech sector, but we're seeing it in other areas as well. Layoffs, budget cuts, restructuring, stress about whether or not you're going to have a job. Teams are smaller and expectations are higher. And if you had an opportunity to listen to last week's episode, it goes without saying, you are all stretched. We are all stretched way too thin. We are juggling so much at work and outside of work that It is more important than ever for leaders to be able to have that touch point to check in and simply say, okay, how are you doing today? Soft skills are hard skills. Soft skills do not go away. And if you're in an organization where soft skills are diminished, I feel for you. Soft skills are the things that pull people together because trust gets to build. And with that, there is this element of emotional intelligence that I truly believe will come to the forefront next year more than ever. So by that, I mean this. Emotional intelligence is about recognizing your personal emotions and managing them effectively. Emotional intelligence is about reading the room and responding appropriately. Emotional intelligence is about leading with empathy while still holding people accountable. Being empathetic doesn't mean we give people a pass. We still have to hold people accountable, but we can have context, we can have understanding, we can have insight into what's going on. For example, let's say you're on the verge of missing a deadline at work. There is a difference in going to your leadership and saying, I'm not going to make the deadline on Friday, versus I'm not going to make the deadline on Friday because fill in the blank, but here's what I'm going to do about it. And here's where I need your support. Emotional intelligence is not some kind of DEI or woke skill. These are essential skills leaders must develop and demonstrate on a consistent basis to build successful teams that allow them to show up and get the job done and get noticed. So we cannot overlook this. Being empathetic and having emotional intelligence doesn't just make you, quote unquote, a nice colleague. Ultimately, they make you someone who is well positioned and strategized for what's next. And that could very well mean that promotion or bigger opportunities within your company. The next skill I want to address with you is about resiliency and change leadership. The pace of change is not slowing down. In fact, it is accelerating. We are seeing this very clearly with AI. And I talked about this at the top of the episode. Companies more than ever, especially in 2026, are going to need mid-career professionals and mid-level leaders such as yourself who can lead through uncertainty. And this means not simply surviving change, but driving it. Think about it. How do you respond when things don't go as planned at work? Do you shut down? Do you find solutions? Do you rally other people and help them move forward with you? When it comes to leading through uncertainty and impacting or influencing without authority, can you remain steady and keep your perspective when the pressure is on? And how are you demonstrating calm in a turbulent time? If there's a crisis happening, who are you going toward? More than likely, if the crisis is happening, you're not going towards someone who's fueling the chaos. You're going to move toward the person who is fueling the change or the path through it. That's why in dangerous situations, we look for the helpers, as Mr. Rogers said. Your ability to stay resilient and help others adapt is what separates you from someone who is going to get overlooked and not get promoted. Your ability to stay resilient and drive that kind of change needs to be directly connected toward your visibility within the workplace. So you are the one who's able to tell that story with results and impact and data about what you did, why it was effective, and where you have all benefited from it. Number 5 is all about cross-functional and business acumen. Acumen is probably something you have seen on a performance metric or mid-year review. Here's the way I like to think of it. If you have ever said to someone at work, that is not my department, that is not my responsibility, that is out of my lane, I'm going to challenge you and ask you to shift your perspective on that. Mid-career professionals who will thrive in 2026 understand the bigger picture. They connect their work across departments and across functions because they see how their work is directly impacting everything else that is going on. For example, if you are a project manager, do you see how timelines are impacting or affecting customer satisfaction? If you are in HR, human resources, do you understand how hiring strategies are impacting revenue? Having a strong business acumen makes you more valuable because you are not merely doing a task. You are driving results across the organization. It is what makes you a versatile employee. It is what makes you someone who is seen as doing things in multiple lanes rather than one. And going into 2026 and into 2026 and beyond, it is your versatility at your mid-level, at mid-career that is going to shape where you are most valuable to your company or organization because they're not going to see you in a silo. They will see you across different aspects. And with that, here is my final tip. In 2026, your networking and relationship capital are more important than ever. Networking is something that you should be doing anyway. But here's the truth. And we've talked about this before, but I'm going to bring it up again. The hidden job market is alive and well. Referrals, connections, recommendations still drive a huge percentage of hires. But networking today, nor has it ever been, nor should it ever be, merely transactional. Networking isn't just about, hey, what you can do for me. Thanks so much. We're done. Networking is about building this relationship capital and having these authentic, ongoing professional relationships that you foster and cultivate and grow and support over time. When it comes to your networking, especially like right now heading into the holidays, but also into 2026, make it a habit to stay connected to former colleagues. Make it a habit to stay engaged with industry peers on LinkedIn. Reach out to people even when you do not need something. Hey, I'm just checking in. How can I help you? What can I do for you? What do you need? Just as I talked about in a previous episode, this is about adding to your value bank. You're going to add to your value bank when you network and build these relationships so that when the time comes when you do need support, you can take that withdrawal. You can make that withdrawal from your value bank and collect on all the relationships you've built. There's somebody in my network whom I recently connected with. We had a one-on-one conversation the other day. I got a handwritten thank you note from him in the mail. A handwritten note. Thanks so much for the one-to-one conversation. I really appreciate it. Here's what I took away from it. Looking forward to talking to you soon. You don't think that matters? That matters. Maybe you don't send a handwritten note, but you send an email. You say thank you and mean it. You build that relationship because heading into 2026, it is more than ever about how well connected you are and where people find you valuable and ready for them when they need something, because you can help them and vice versa. So look, as we wrap up, let's just take a moment to recap here. As we head into 2026, these are the skills that I believe mid-career professionals like you need to be focusing on that will set you apart from your competition. AI fluency and digital agility, strategic communication and storytelling, trust building and emotional intelligence, resilience and the ability to lead through change, cross-functional business acumen, and continued growing your networking and relationship capital. If you want to stay competitive and thrive in the new year, it is time to invest in these skills now, because what you already have may be good enough. The question then, is it going to be good enough 3 months from now or 6 months from now? It won't be if you're not focusing on these things. So what does this all mean, right? Like, if you do all of these things, what then happens? Well, first thing is that I can't promise you're going to get a new job. I can't promise you that. I don't know all of the circumstances that go into that. But what I can assure you, and I can promise you with the absolute confidence that I have, is this. If you work on these things, you will be more strategically positioned. You will have more people talking about you and why you're valuable. You will have people willing to advocate for you in the job market to try to help you find a new job when you need it or when you want it. You will build a personal board of directors within your company and outside of it that will be actively advocating for your advancement. And what does your advancement mean? Bigger title, bigger responsibility, more money, more visibility, and setting you up for what's going to be next after that. It is time to invest in those skills right now. Now, if you're ready to have some kind of support in sharpening those skills, I want to invite you to check out one of my career and leadership strategy sessions. In just one session, I will help you create a customized roadmap, the beginning framework of your mid-career GPS, to help you make your next career move with more confidence than you've ever had in your career. You can find a link to book this in the show notes or visit my website, johnneral.com/resources. All right, my friends. A lot going on. Hang in there. Keep being the amazing professionals you are. Mid-career is one of the most dynamic times in our careers, and I wish you the best in navigating through it. And I'm honored you spent some time with me today. So until next time, remember this. You will build your mid-career GPS 1 mile or 1 step at a time, and how you show up matters. Make it a great rest of your day. Thank you for listening to the Mid-Career GPS podcast. Make sure to follow on your favorite listening platform. And if you have a moment, I'd love to hear your comments on Apple Podcasts. Visit johnneral.com for more information about how I can help you build your mid-career GPS, or how I can help you and your organization with your next workshop or public speaking event. Don't forget to connect with me on LinkedIn and follow me on social at John Neral Coaching. I look forward to being back with you next week. Until then, take care, and remember, how we show up matters.